So one time as I'm walking in the dining room, I'm noticing that one of my servers is in the weed, so I decided to stay in that station and help her out a little bit. Disclaimer, I have RBF, and it's not because I'm mean or anything. It's just I wasn't born a clown, so I don't walk around smiling all day. So one of my opportunities as a manager is that when I make eye contact with somebody, I try to smile at them and say hello. That way they know that I'm approachable. At the booth is a guy and a girl, and me and the guy catch eye contact. So I smile, I go over to the table, I say, hi, how are you both doing tonight? I noticed that there's bread on the table, but there's no beverages. Are you waiting on anything? He says, I'm waiting on the Coke. She's waiting on a margarita from the bar. I say, okay, give me 1 second. Let me see if I can go grab those for you and bring it right back. I grab the drinks, I bring it back to the table. I say, for your next course, are you waiting on super salad? He says, salad. Okay, I'm looking at them both. I'm like, do you guys have any modifications? And he says, no, just bring it out however it's supposed to be. Cool. So I make the salad, I bring the salad out, I put the bowl between the both of them. She takes the salad bowl and like pulls it in front of her, and she's like, oh, you should have just put this in front of me. But I'm thinking she meant because she was hungry, so I chuckle a little bit. And she's like, well, do you know him? And so I said, I look at him, I'm like, no, I don't think so. She's like, oh, because you keep coming over here, you seem real familiar. So I was like, well, it's not that I know him, I'm a restaurant manager, and I noticed that the server in this area was behind, so I'm just making sure that you guys are okay. So I'm like, my name is Kelly. Again, I'm the manager. If you need anything, call me right back over. Of course, this is the night in which we only have 4 people on the line when we should have 6 on the line. So the entrees are coming out really, really slow. And this particular table, their entrees were like 47 minutes late. So if food is late, I like to run it out because they're less likely to take it out on the server than they would a manager. And I just go ahead and offer them something complimentary for the inconvenience. I go to the table. I say, I do apologize for the delay. I'm going to send you guys out a complimentary dessert because I know that this was an inconvenience for you both. Ma'am, here is your chicken Alfredo. Sir, here is your shrimp carbonara. Drop the food. She says to me, this is not even what I ordered. So I say, oh, I'm so sorry. What was it that you ordered? She looks at me and she says, I ordered the noodles with the fettuccine sauce. And anybody that works in an Italian restaurant, you know that people don't know the difference between pasta and sauce, and they also don't know that there's different types of pasta. So I'm looking, I say, yeah, we have fettuccine right here. Are you referring to the longer, thicker noodles? Because that's what's in the bowl there. She said, yeah. I said, well, what's the fettuccine sauce? What color is it? She said, the white sauce. I said, yeah, that's the Alfredo. I said, I could bring you some more sauce if you feel like it's not enough sauce. She said, I don't even want it. So I say, okay. I go to take it back halfway out that session. She's like, you might as well just give it to me. I've been waiting here all this time. So I'm like, okay. I place it back on the table. Now it's time for them to pay the bill. Her card comes back declined. Now I got to go over to the table. I said, ma'am, I do apologize, but in order to wrap up this experience, we will need another form of payment because the system is not recognizing your card. She says to me, oh, you must not know what you're doing. I say, okay, I'll try it again. Now, when you run a card, sometimes depending on the system, a decline slip will come up. So now I take the decline slip and I attach it to her card when I take it back to the table. And I said, no, ma'am, your card is coming up decline. She looks at the guy and that guy says, no, I only got enough money on my card to pay for my food, and hands me his card to pay for his half of the bill. So I run it and I take it back. And now they're like in a full blown argument at the table. She went to the ATM and never came back.